Hello and welcome back to Sprite Guard Plays Hyper Rogue. Today I want to set out and explore and see if we can find any new lands. I've been playing the mobile version of this game, which just had a big update. I don't know if the Steam version has updated as well, so we'll see if we can find any of the new worlds that have been introduced and see what we can find. And even if we don't find any of the new worlds, I still haven't been able to show you most of the endgame content, or even most of the middle game content for this game, so that's something that I am looking forward to. Now we have 10 ice diamonds, so we don't need to get any more of those, and we want to focus on getting out of this area. And I see a border. Looks like we're going into the jungle next. I found out that these Orb of Winters, I believe this orb can be used to invoke a wall of ice. It also protects you from fires. Okay, so I didn't know that part, that it protects you from fires. I did know that it creates a wall behind you. I believe it also protects you from these guys, because they track their prey by their heat. A nasty predator from the icy land. Contrary to other monsters, it tracks its prey by their heat. Alright. So let's head into the jungle, and one thing I have noticed about these ice wolves is that when you get up to one of the other biomes, they will not follow you in because they just get confused, because everything is warm. And if you lead other monsters into the icy land from other areas, you can actually find that those monsters will sometimes give off a lot of heat. Now, I always want to be careful working with these ivies, especially these double ivies. I find are often more trouble than they're worth. So I'm going to focus on finding single ivies that I can work my way into the center of. And these are so close together that I kind of want to approach them maybe from a different angle. And this is actually, I now see that this is a double that I'm trying to fight here. And I didn't even realize it, but that explains why. Boy, there are a lot of doubles I'm running into, and I'm not finding a place where I can attack very effectively. So this one we're managing to get our way into. Managed that. How many do we have? 4. Okay. I'm not going to be reading most of the status text at the bottom. It's usually fairly uninformative stuff like, you kill the eagle, you kill the giant ape, you picked up a ruby, that kind of stuff. So you're not missing out on much if you cannot read it. But there's just too much of it for me to read everything out loud. That is something that I try to pay attention to, because I know that not everyone can read all of the on-screen text. I know that YouTube compression can make things very difficult. So that's something that I try to pay attention to. Alright, so we have 7 rubies. I'm going to get my way out of there and into the desert, which is, I think, one of the easier areas. And I just want to kind of knock it out of the way, because I find the easier areas a little bit more dull. They can be kind of rewarding just because it's easy to get stuff done and it feels a little bit safer. So coming out of the jungle, I like to go into the desert or the icy land or the mirrored land is, I think, one of the easiest. Kind of go from one of those more hectic areas into one that is a bit calmer. And especially as things start to get really dangerous, you'll see that we will really be wanting a break. So I'm going to head back into the jungle now, and I'm not even sure if this is the same jungle or a different one. So we have a couple of double ivies coming right in, and a gorilla that I want to take care of. It looks like we also have a sandworm on our trail, so that's something we will have to deal with. It looks like it's actually gotten trapped in the ivy, and that has caused it to turn into spice, because that's what happens when sandworms get stuck, apparently. I haven't read Dune, so I don't know how accurate that is. But I do know that the desert is full of references to Dune that just go completely over my head because I could never get into it. I think I was always too young for it. I know that it often I often tried it, and it usually came off very dry to me. And then I think other times there's just not been the time or the interest to get into a really long and fairly dense book. So I don't remember if I talked much about the Alchemy Lab, how we're bound to one color. I read something interesting on the blog of the developer, I think it was the blog, where he talked about the differences between the normal version of this game and the Euclidean mode that he added, where you can try and play it in Euclidean geometry, and it really doesn't work. Now, that was almost a mistake, that in two different ways, both because I was worried I wouldn't be able to reach this elixir of life, and because I almost covered it with slime. So that was very nearly a mistake, but I just happened to get lucky that the distances worked out fine. So, something he talked about in regards to the Euclidean mode is that in Euclidean geometry, on a hexagonal grid, which this is sort of an analog to, you can have a blue path going from left to right, or you can have a red path going from top to bottom, but you can't have both. And so paths dead end very easily. And what he said that I found really interesting is this is also true of the hyperbolic version, but there are more directions to go in. Which, that phrasing of it, that way of describing what is special about this game, I found very compelling. Now, what are these? Orb of Speed. Okay, so those let us move twice as fast, which can give us the opportunity to do some things that we wouldn't otherwise be able to do. But it doesn't last very long. I want to sort of kite these red slimes over here now, which is going to require a bit more waiting than I'd really like to do. But basically I wanted to do that so I could get over here, grab this elixir, and then head into the Crossroads. And just have to deal with these slimes, and then we will make it into the Crossroads, and we can see what other lands we're able to get to. It looks like we have unlocked the Land of Eternal Motion. We only need one more ruby from the jungle, so that is something that we will be looking forward to. This area I usually find fairly easy. You just sort of have to move in straight lines and move towards the gems, and it's pretty difficult to get trapped as long as you're paying attention. Of course, nothing in this game is truly easy, because you do have running dogs coming at you from all directions, and the biggest insight that I have into this area is just to know when to give up, to know when to leave a gem and just keep going in a straight line, keep running away, because really these areas are infinite, and it's never worth it to try and get something that is even a little bit dicey. Like, I can't get that. I don't think I want to work on a way of figuring out how to get that. Now, it looks like we have collected enough orbs in this area because, yeah, an orb of safety spawned, and those will give you a random teleport. So if we come across one of those, we might want to pick it up. Things are getting pretty okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure that I would be able to get out of that situation, and in fact I got stuck. So it shows me for calling this area easy. still haven't really made it into the later games, still haven't made it into some of my favorite areas, and so that is something that I will be hoping to do in the future. I hope you will join me. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, I would love to hear about it in the comments, but most of all, thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.